What am I gonna do this morning? Should I wash my truck, maybe? Or maybe get that honeydew list that my wife wants me to get done? Howdy folks, it's Nita with AP 2020 Outdoors. I'm in somewhere in Pennsylvania. Where?
Burgettstown.
Burgettstown. Actually, I'm from Ohio, and I made it through West Virginia, and then I made it through Pennsylvania. I'm just kind of confused. But anyways, I'm here with Brandon and Ryan with Diligent Defense. How you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Awesome. So listen, folks, big treat today. We got a factory tour of Diligent Defense. Stay tuned. All right, guys, why don't you tell me about the origins of Diligent Defense?
I was raised and born into the manufacturing world, and me and Ryan basically became close through his job and my job, and we vaguely knew each other when we were younger from motorcycles and BMX, but didn't really become close until later in life, maybe
Yeah, probably
6-7 years.
2015-ish.
Yeah, probably 2015. I started doing some side hustling in my garage at home and had a small old CNC in my garage, and used to send Ryan Snapchats of it, and he picked himself up a garage sale deal and started doing something similar, and some years later we had an FFL and started making suppressors, I guess, is the fast forwarded version of it.
That's like the American dream, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, Ryan's now officially self-employed.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. Just quit my job 2 weeks ago.
You quit your real job.
Yeah.
No, this is your real job now.
This is my real job
That
now,
was just paying bills, right?
Right.
Yeah. My background, I know a little bit about everything in manufacturing. I'm an expert at nothing, and Ryan, you could tell what you've been doing, I guess.
Just mechanical engineer. Been doing it since, I don't know, man, roughly 2007. Used to call Brandon a shitload to get quotes on jobs, and that's how we sort of got hooked up again through previous employers that I had, and decided to go on this route of making suppressors, and here we are today.
What separates Diligent Defense from the other silencer suppressor makers in the country? I mean, there's a lot of people now compared to what, 10, 15 years ago?
It's getting soggy a little bit out there.
Right.
Yeah, probably. I mean, so there's a company out there called Pew Science. He does third-party testing on suppressors. We score really well on that ranking. I feel that our suppressors are very quality for the price. LTI can is one of the quietest you can get on 308, and our STI can is, I think, 6th place or somewhere in there.
Yeah, for a shorter can.
Yeah.
Our short can outperforms a lot of the longer ones. We're still currently holding the quietest shooter's ear at Pew Science. Overall, no, but at shooter's ear, and that's actually what we test for when we're going. Rumor has it it's been beat, but it's not been released yet. So, and most importantly, I would say we're the only suppressor manufacturer that I know of that does 100% of everything in-house. So we have complete quality control of everything. We don't have to deal with all the other elements. Quality, lead times, if we have a problem, we can resolve it and, get to the bottom of.
Yeah, the tough part about what we do is we get slammed with lead time issues where we get a big order and we're a small shop, so we sort of have a harder time keeping up when we get those big orders. So.
Yeah, double-edged sword,
Yeah.
But if you're willing to wait sometimes, it's definitely the most affordable cans, and we control it all.
That is one thing I've noticed in the last 10 years is price. 15 years ago, how many players were in the industry?
Gemtech, AAC,
No, a
yeah,
whole lot,
not a
yeah.
whole lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Dead Air came in around 2015.
Right.
17. Oh no, 17 I think was
Is it?
Thunder
Yes.
Beast, maybe. No,
Right.
but
So there's a big difference between expensive, affordable, and cheap.
yeah, ours are affordable. Definitely not cheap. I mean, they're, like I said, the materials we use are as good, if not better than anybody's, and our processes and tolerances are as good or better than anybody's.
Let's do a little, so I'm going to jump ahead, folks, and just do a little sneak preview of an upcoming video with these guys. You guys just picked up what? B&K what?
Pulse. It's a sound metering system. We've had it for actually a decent while yet, but we've kind of kept quiet about it. The Pulse simultaneously meters. It has 3 microphones. We only currently utilize 2 just because start to get a lot of splitting hairs, you know what I mean, coming down, but we measure at the muzzle and at the shooter's ear. I don't know if you want to tell a little bit about.
Yeah, it's super high frequency. I think it's 262,000 samples per second. So we get a really good view of what that gunshot decibel curve looks like.
Because the peak is, do you know the duration of time what the peak is typically?
We do, yeah.
It's in microseconds,
yeah, it's
right?
4 to 5 milliseconds the peak.
Yeah, yeah.
That depends a lot on what you're shooting and that type of thing, but yeah.
And a lot of, if you see guys on the internet that buy those cheap $100, $200 eBay sound meters,
$30 sound meters.
Yeah,
no,
or Amazon, no.
Yeah, they don't work.
They don't
Yeah,
work.
The duration is so short that if you're not sampling fast enough, you'll never see it.
You'll never see it.
Yeah.
You could by accident,
Y-
but
yeah.
rare,
But it's rare.
very rare.
Yeah, we started out when we first started designing. We used the analog version of the B&K from the '60s, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a B&K
2209, I think.
2209 analog sound meter, and that got us far. And it basically started making you want to pull your hair out. You know what I mean? So we jumped in further and invested in the Pulse, and
Yeah, it was a great decision. We learned a whole lot about our cans and other people's cans and what matters, what doesn't, that type of thing. So it's been an invaluable tool.
still learning too. The Pew Science, which we discussed earlier, you get a lot of people that are going to be attacking, saying that peak decibel is peak dBs aren't relevant, which we found they kind of track with the Pulse standings, but they're right. I mean, I think damaging is sound over time, and
Yeah.
we've actually found a way to dive into that too, and don't have a great conclusion yet, but we're getting closer.
Yeah, we're getting better at every day, so.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your current product.
So we're still doing our original line, which is the Enticer series, which I would say is pretty much 90% of our sales. We have a short and a long version. We have 2 variants of material, one that's stainless and titanium, and they're the same suppressor. It's just what you're looking for, whether it's the stainless is cheaper and more durable, the titanium is more expensive and a lot lighter. Better for the hunting community, you know, different applications.
Yep.
In addition to that, we got the Wolf Hunter, which is it's similar in design to the Enticer series, but it's for 6mm and under. And then we have the DTF series, which is also similar in design, but it's for the 338 Magnums, and also the 8.6 Blackout is kind of what we tested it around.
We just developed a 22 can in the last 2 weeks. I was actually running those baffles at home to get us started on the first 100 or so.
Yeah. So yeah, we got 100 of those in process, and we'll be doing some metering on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Release date?
We've been telling everybody next month for the last year. But I would say we're about 3 weeks out, probably.
Oh, good.
In all reality, and I'm assuming the first 100 will disappear pretty quick. So
You guys gonna get it into any pistol cans? 9mm, 45?
we want to do it all.
Yep.
And it's just been our own limitation, our own bottleneck has been manufacturing, and as much as it's cool to say we build everything in house and it's quality, it's kind of been hurting us too.
Yeah. It's tough to get it all done. It's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
The daily production, the trials on new stuff. You know, it's a lot to handle.
Yeah, and then in addition to that, I guess we just like to work. We do dealer direct. We're one of the few suppressor dealers that do that as well. You can log on to our website, and sign up to become a dealer. So
No minimums?
No minimums. We do have pricing tiers. You know, if you're a volume dealer, you get better margins. But I think right now we're just north of 400.
Yeah.
We got around 430 dealers maybe across the country. We're doing some distribution too, which has actually been pretty cool for us. It's been a relief. It's been, you know, easier for the clerical end for sure.
This morning, so for the folks out there that don't know anything, let's start at maybe at a high level and then start getting into the weeds a little bit deeper. Talk about how you build a can.
So as far as the manufacturing goes, or the science inside?
Let's start with the manufacturing and then maybe
Okay.
get into the weeds and the science of
I'm gonna
it.
let Ryan start. I've been rambling a lot.
Okay, that's fine.
Manufacturing is all done in CNC machines. We buy titanium bar stock, we buy stainless steel bar stock. Those machines are programmed. We use a software called Fusion 360. All the designs that were generated from learning what we learned on the Pulse, that gets put into the software. We generate CNC code, goes in the machine, run the part. We do measurements on ID, OD, bore sizes, lengths, and then that machine continuously runs to make our baffles. So in each can, I mean, the S can I think has 8 pieces to it. So there's 7 baffles in that can. There's also a blast chamber that's made out of, if it's titanium, it came from titanium tubing. If it's stainless steel, we had to take bar stock and make tubing out of it. So all those pieces come together at the end in assembly, where we take all the pieces, put them together. There's a few things that have to happen during that assembly where, you know, the clips have to line up and everything has to fit properly.
Clips being,
think of if you're looking through the bore of a baffle, it's coming in perpendicular to that. So if our bore is 3/8, we're using a 3/16 end mill to apply that clip.
and the purpose of the clip?
The purpose of the clip is to allow, I mean, getting in the weeds a little bit, but it allows gas to come across the hole and block that chamber from exiting too quickly.
Essentially, it causes turbulence inside the can. It causes a perpendicular jet of gas, and it just basically causes more turbulence and rumbling, which a suppressor is simply slowing down the gas from exiting.
Which ultimately leads to how quiet how quiet the can is.
Yeah, so if you take one of our cans and you don't clip it, man, is it loud. As soon as you clip it, it quiets right down.
Probably 20%.
Yeah,
Really?
Huge difference.
Yeah, and there's just a lot involved as far as angles, clip size, clip depth. Like, it's wild.
It all matters. The geometry all matters.
Let me ask you guys this. So, pre-Pulse, what were your designs? What did you learn from having the Pulse? That was like, oh man.
So
Wow,
there's
I didn't know that would happen.
We're pretty open about everything, but
Right.
we do keep a handful of things in our pocket. But we can change shooter's year numbers drastically just by one design change, and it's pretty funny. We could actually improve our muzzle numbers, but we prefer to keep it down. I mean, you know, you're seeing as much as 2 decibels at a shooter's ear.
Just tremendous.
Just by one little design change that we figured out that maybe somebody else knows it, but I've not heard it from anybody else yet. So we keep that in our pocket. But besides that, every little bit changes something.
Right. So essentially, you start out with titanium or stainless tubes, and I'd seen the solid bars, which is what the baffles are machined from.
Yep.
Right. And then you machine the baffles.
Yeah.
The tubes are already. You still have to do a final machine on the tubes.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Yep. We do a light cut and we thread each side. We do some milling on the outside for our hex.
And they get hexes and designs and
End caps.
Yep, we do.
End caps are from bar stock.
From bar stock.
Yeah.
And the slang we use, or the acronym, is DTA, the direct thread adapters, which screw into the suppressor that in turn go on the gun. So those come from bar stock as well.
Right. So if a person was looking, let's say, Diligent Defense is their first suppressor they're going to get, what would you guys recommend? Let's say this guy has a 5.56, 308, 243.
I tell everybody my personal favorite is the STI. It's a shorter can. It's quieter than a full-length Sandman. It's so you're not beating it off the top of the door. You're not beating it off the side by side. It's plenty of suppression, and as far as weight goes, it comes in at like 8.9 ounces with the thread adapter. As far as putting that on an AR, it's no problem. 30 round mag dump, 60 round mag dump still is. It's 60 rounds I'd watch, but after, you know, who does that? So
Right.
that would definitely be the can that I would recommend across the board.
Cool part of our suppressors too is in the Enticer series, they're 30 cal and they perform really well on 30 cal. But you can also the end caps are removable. So a cool thing you can do is if you want to shoot on 5.56, change the end cap and you can save as much as 4 to 6 dB on just changing the end cap.
Yep, shooters here 4 to 6 decibels. We were getting 6 exactly on a 16-inch 5.56 bolt rifle.
Yep.
Attaching the baffles together, for lack of a better term. What do you guys call that?
We just call it assembly.
The assembly. So you're doing the laser welding?
Yeah.
So what does that involve?
So laser welding involves, we basically set all the parts on a bench, which we'll see here in a little bit.
Cleanliness is huge.
Cleanliness is huge, but also when you're putting them together, when you're doing several at a time, it's real easy to get confused. So we lay them out so it's hard to mess up. And so that assembly happens on the bench out here by the welder. Once those cans go together, and we've found that a slightly loose fit works well for us to keep our cans straight when welding. Because what can happen is when you're welding metal, it expands and shrinks, and that can get out of straightness. So we found during our machining where we'll have a few thou loose fit, we call it a slip fit. That works best for us.
Yeah, a 1 to 2 thousandths clearance on a part.
Yeah.
And basically the fusion process is consuming metal the entire time, so the suppressor is actually wobbling back and forth the entire welding time, and by having that clearance it lets it do that. If you had a press fit, it might kink crooked and then you're stuck, you know.
Yeah.
What have you done any accuracy testing regarding point of impact, point of shift?
Yep, we had a guy actually on is it shooter side, sniper side?
Sniper side.
Yeah, he did a really thorough test on Thunder Beast versus us. As far as the PRS world goes, Thunder Beast, and they are awesome, straight, good cans, and their POI shifts what they hang their hat on, and we were right there with them. We have a very generous bore. We account a lot of that. I would say out of 10 hosts, 9 of them, you're going to pick up a better group. There are some guns that I've seen which, unsuppressed, I always see it tighten up, but if you have a heavier suppressor, maybe a stainless can on there, I've seen our group open up a little bit because it's a lighter suppressor. But besides that, no, it's an improvement every time, and our POI shift's minimal.
What's your overbore on the calibers?
Our 30 cal can is a 3/8 bore, so you got basically 75 thousandths total.
Total. Mm-hmm. So 37 and a half.
Yeah, aside, which is very generous.
All right, folks, it's Nito with AP 2020 Outdoors. Brandon, Ryan, you guys are awesome, man.
Thank you for everything.
Thanks, man.
It's been fun.
Had a good time. You guys educated me on cans and whatnot. Hopefully I educated you guys on, what not to do. Remember, support that Second Amendment. We'll see you guys later.